be, right? Is it a dome? Can someone show like a physical demonstration? Like, I'm not just going to believe kind of like woo-woo ideas. That's why I'm a flat earther. I would have to see a physical demonstration showing exactly what mechanism would cause that to happen. I can do that with star trails. I can do that with many things. So if that was the case, then I would be all for saying, okay, here's a feasible mechanism. Maybe it does work within a dome, and we also see within a dome, right? And we have a personal atmospheric dome. Maybe there's an actual dome there's layers to the dome, because I actually think all three of those are true. But so I'm not saying it's impossible. And obviously, my position on this is that no matter what the sun's doing, it doesn't like throw out physical measurements of the Earth where we're shooting radar through this magical alleged globe. It doesn't go away. So I think it's just important for that reason in and of itself, right? It's like, we need to know what it is. I don't think it's any more complicated than that. And it would be, I guess what I'm trying to say is it would actually be futile for us to try to come up with tons of explanations as to how there's a 24-hour sun on the flat Earth if there actually isn't one, right? And that's the benefit of us going to see. And I'm open to figuring out what causes it or how does it work, or if we can figure out different explanations for it once we know it's actually something that needs to be explained. And if it's not, then it's not. And that's obviously a huge death blow to the globe. So yeah, it's kind of my take. And I don't necessarily think they fake it without us catching it. I obviously don't know what all technology they have, but I agree with Jeran on that. I mean, we'll see. Are they're going to fake the actual exact sunspots? Because we're going to have solar filters that can see the sunspots. We're going to have infrared. We're going to have multiple different angles, multiple different lenses, multiple different cameras. So, to me, it doesn't seem likely that they could fake it. But just, let's go and see what happens is kind of my mindset.
And if you guys want to help too, we're asking people from their homes if they want to go on those same 5 days that we're down there and just take a photograph of the sun or a video of the sun at a certain time, be it noon or 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. or 6 p.m. Get a picture and just make sure you chronicle exactly what direction you're looking. You guys are going to be looking south, obviously. But this way we can kind of take all that data, match it with what we see down there, and see if we can come up with a better picture of exactly what happens in the south, because we deserve to know that. And there's just, they cut out all the webcams. So how are we supposed to know unless we take people's word for it? But we've already noted some of the videos have been edited, chopped, tried to push off as real when they're not. So that calls into question everything. And I don't think there's a problem with doing that. I don't think there's a problem with being skeptical about those things. And yeah, it's an expensive trip. It's about $35,000. And basically the flight just goes from Punta Arenas, what you're paying for is just Punta Arenas at the very bottom of South America to Antarctica, 4.5-hour flight. You stay in a tent. You have to, basically go to the restroom in an outhouse, and then you fly home 4 days later, and it's $35,000. So I didn't hear you at all.
I won't say it again. It was rude. I said you're going to sit in a bucket for 5 days.
I wasn't going to say that. You go ahead and steal my thunder. So yeah, I mean, it just, nobody would ever pay that much for this trip. Like if I was a millionaire, I wouldn't pay that much for this trip. So when it was offered to us as free, that's the only reason I even thought about it. And I said, okay, well, I've wanted to go there. If I'm wrong about the way that I've been describing the flat Earth, then I want to know it so I can refine whatever it is that I want to present. And I don't want to be presenting things that are wrong. So if I have an opportunity to go, and if you guys know, I was in Behind the Curve. So a lot of people look, oh, Jeran, he was the ending scene of Behind the Curve. Well, I think I learned a lot from that, mess, which was, number one, never signed a document saying that they can use you however they wanted, which is what we all signed for Behind the Curve. They just kept talking to us saying, oh, we're trying to show you guys in a good light. Don't worry about what it says. Well, we trusted them. And then what did they do? They went and misrepresented experiments and basically made fun of flat earthers. So that, plus the fact that when I went to my experiment, I didn't have anybody filming it. That's why the camera crew said, hey, can we film your experiment? I said, sure, that's great. I don't have anybody filming it. So when they film it and nobody else is filming it, well, that's duh. Now the documentary crew is the only one with the video footage, so they can do whatever they want with it, right? And which is what they did. So if you have those two issues, then yeah, then we got put in a hit piece. With this one, we've made sure that will not take place, or we've done everything that we can to make sure that will not take place. We haven't signed any documents that say they can use this without our permission. In fact, we've done the opposite. They cannot use this without our permission. And in this case, we also are going to have all of our camera footage there. So even if they tried to lie or tried to misrepresent what that we actually see down there, well, we're going to have Austin, myself, Lisbeth Acosta is with us. She's also a flat earther going. So we're going to have all three of our footage to prove that they're lying. So we feel like we're in a better position this time. We do think we're the right people to go. I don't think that you could trick us both with some fake sun of some type. And again, if they have to fake it, then I want to see them do it. If we just always were scared of going down there, right? So if we just said nobody wants to go down there, and well, then they don't even have to fake it. They just can just pretend by at least forcing their hand, make them have to do what they have to do. We thought that that the trip would probably be canceled, and it still could be. We still got 2 weeks left, but that would be telling, quite telling, right? Or what I've kind of thought is if they do cloud up the sky, I don't know if you guys have seen there's videos. NASA knows how to make clouds. So if they wanted to put clouds down there, they could. And then we would see clouds for 5 days. We would come home and say nothing was proven. And the guy who's paying for the trip would be out, $150,000. So that would essentially protect or prevent people in the future from wanting to go down there. Who's going to go down next year when the one guy went down this year and lost $150,000? So there's a lot of options of what could happen. And ultimately, we could go down there and see the sun circle you like the globe says. So we really, what can we do besides go down there and observe it, right? It's all guesswork until then. So that's what we're willing to do. And are we going to freeze our little Naugus off? Yes. But I guess we'll live, I think. I hope.
Just quickly, Jeran, it's a really interesting thing, the whole thing. In terms of the contract that you guys have signed, could you just give us a brief outline of it? Because someone sent a question in about a contract lawyer where there's a binder and Will Duffy. Is there two people involved, and what's the deal? I don't know if you've read that correctly.
I couldn't understand what you said. A binder involved?
So a finder, Finder, someone finding something. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't think that there's anything like that.
Is the contract open to manipulation?
We think we did a good job with the contract. It took a lot of going back and forth. We made sure that what we wanted was in there. I don't think there was anything that we didn't want that ended up in there. In fact, we really didn't even think it was going to be signed. We signed the document about 5 minutes before the deadline. But the document's pretty good. It just basically lays out that he's the what I forgot what they call it, participant, and he's the sponsor, and that the sponsor's paying for all the expenses of the participants, and that we agree to report accurately and honestly what we see, and he agrees to not be deceptive or not hide anything from us. There's nothing that he can know that we can't know. He has to tell us. So if he finds out there's going to be some documentary crew or something down there, then he needs to immediately tell us as soon as he finds out. If we were to get down there and then find out that he did have a documentary crew that he lied to us about, it's a breach of contract. So there's a lot of different things like that. What am I missing, Austin, that we didn't, what else did we throw in there?
Oh, in the contract?
Yeah.
Pretty much everything, all verbal contracts. If there's any type of deceptions whatsoever, it nullifies the entire contract. I'm not sure exactly what all you said, to be honest. I mean, the contract is written in such a way that any conceivable deception is like impossible without violating the contract.
Right.
And I was actually amazed that it was signed, because we wrote that together, and it protects us to such an extent that it's baffling. So there's no hit pieces, no using our likeness or final approval without our final approval anywhere, period. So we don't have to worry about some big hit piece. It nullifies the contract to the extent we could obviously sue for damages, reputational damages, etc. So, yeah, the contract is like bulletproof. It is completely bulletproof.
Yeah.
I'll say I also had my attorney look over it. Right. I wrote it with the help of Jeran. Jeran and I wrote it. And I show my attorney, and he was like impressed with the contract. He's like, they signed that, Yeah. So.
Which again is a good thing.
Question from the audience here.
Sure.
One of our visitors that you can't see because the camera's a long way, but it's the lovely Sarah.
Hi, Jeran and Austin. You're going to get an American. How do you know where they're sitting? Have you got anything in place to compensation? That's quite way.
Are you hearing that?
Yeah.
What'd she say? Just say the question because I didn't hear it all.
So she said, you're going on an airplane. How do you know where you're going?
gotcha.
Do you have compasses or something? That's basically what I got out of what I could hear.
Yep.
Yeah. Good.
Where you're going.
How can we check where we're going? Is that the question?
Yeah.
I'll bring up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So we really can't fully verify where we're going. Obviously, we're going to be flying to South America. And so then we're going to get on a plane and we're going to fly over water for 4 hours south and then hit a bunch of ice, right? And so if that actually happens, and we can just look out the windows and we're going to know we're in South America, obviously, verifiably. So then it's just a 4-hour flight across the ocean to ice. And so, where else are we going to be going that would happen? Further, as it pertains to the trip, because no, we truly can't verify it. Compasses are effectively useless. According to the mainstream, like magnetic declination and the model and everything, the compasses are going to be all over the place and basically useless that far south, right? Like that, there are certain places where if the compass says it's 179, according to the magnetic declination corrections, you're supposed to it's actually 180 degrees the other way, right? So north would be south. Your compass would say north, it's actually south. So you can't fully verify it that way. But as it pertains to the trip, right, there is nowhere that there should be a 24-hour sun in the current conception of the flat Earth, right? The sun does a circle around us in the north. So there shouldn't be anywhere they can take us that has a bunch of ice that we see this 24-hour sun. And so that's why we kind of agreed to the trip, although we can't specifically verify our exact location, right? Longitude and latitude, although that's just a concept that the globe uses. Anyway, it shouldn't matter too much for the trip, right? And so that's why I agreed to it. Now, if we were going to circumnavigate, we would need to know exactly where we are. I just can't really see. I mean, if we go to the tip of South America and then we fly over the ocean and then after a few hours we hit a bunch of ice after flying south, I think it's pretty safe to assume that we are in Antarctica. Jeran, do you have anything else you want to say?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've had people say we might be in the north, but remember the north is not going to have sun because it's going to be the height of the summer of the south. So that means the north will be dark. So we wouldn't end up here. And how would we get there in 4 hours anyway? So we'll definitely know we're in Punta Arenas. We actually have to get there 3 days early. The whole trip is a lot longer than we thought. It ends up being about 11 or 12 days. And it's because you have to get there 2 days early, stay there in a hotel 2 days early, and you have to stay after 2 days. And that's because of the weather. They might send you down days early or bring you back days early or late. So that's part of the rules. So anyway, when we fly down to the tip of South America here, then it's a 4.5 hour flight. So very difficult because no matter where we went here, right, like Austin said, even if they took us this way or this way, no matter where we end up, there's no reason that you would have a patch of ice, even if it's out here, that would have a 24-hour sun. Like, what is the sun doing going around the ice that way, right? So that wouldn't work. So basically, it's going to be pretty, at least kind of easy to tell. If we fly 4.5 hours south, we're going to have a compass. We'll see what the best we can do with the compass. And then we're going to land over here somewhere. So I'm bringing a chest cam. I'm going to try and keep my chest cam on as much as I can so that everyone, when I get back, is going to be able to see what the flight was like from Punta Arenas, what was looking out the window as we went down south, as we crossed the ocean, as we get past the ice wall, as we get out into the recesses of Antarctica. It's going to be pretty crazy because I don't think people realize the size of Antarctica, even on the globe model, is quite a bit bigger than the United States. So you're talking about a huge area of land that there's just no people at, right? It's just all supposedly snow-capped mountains and plains. And they actually call it a desert because it doesn't actually rain or snow there. It's very strange. It gets like 3/4 of an inch a year. We get that in an evening, right? But probably in an hour. But it's considered one of the driest places on Earth. They consider it a desert, but it is got ice there, and because it never melts. So whatever falls there, whatever happens, it never melts. It never gets above freezing. So
it also adds credibility to the fact that there's no sun there.
Right. So then once we get there, it's just going to come down to whether the sun, because again, if we leave at the morning or afternoon, really the sun will be right behind us, meaning that if we leave here, the sun's going to be here-ish. And as we start flying south, one thing or another is going to happen. Either this sun's got to go this way or it's going to go this way. And if it goes this way, it's going around us, and it's supposed to do that for basically 5 days. While we're down there, it just does this around our heads, and that's what the globe says. So it is quite a big difference between what would work, I think, for at least this map that I believed in. But again, it doesn't mean that it's completely wrong. It means I could be blocked, right? When my wife asked me if the Earth could be flat, I told her no, because planes go around it. And it wasn't until I saw this map that it woke my brain up to make it see, oh, I was actually just blocking the idea of planes going around an Earth. And then I saw this, okay, so the same thing could be true now, that I'm just got a block in my head and somebody's going to come along and say, oh, couldn't it work this way? Yeah, absolutely. So I certainly would never say something is proven completely or 100%, but it is, to me, at least a destruction of what I've been saying when I draw undersea cables. Oh, by the way, so the way these undersea cables work is right here where there's these long distances. So from South America to Africa here, to Australia here, none of these exist. There is no undersea cables that do this. If you look at any undersea cable map, they basically go from here, they go up here, and then down this way. Okay, so that works perfectly on an AE map. That's how all the cables go. And then they don't have any that go this way either. They come around and go like this up here. So everything is like run in the north. Just like I said with plane flights, if you looked at plane flights right now, the plane flights going on in the world, you would have a lot of planes doing this, right? And then you'd have a lot of planes doing this, and you'd have some doing this. But what you don't have is, they have one. They have the Sydney to Santiago and Santiago to Sydney, but it's just that one plane out there. And then there's really no plane that goes this way, does this. I think there's one Johannesburg maybe to Perth, maybe. But there's no planes out there. So it is very weird that it seems like it makes sense on an Earth where the south is extended. I even think it could have something to do with like MH370, that if you did have an extended south, you would have areas that maybe weren't GPSed or weren't mapped out. And if a plane did get up there and went towards the south and dropped into one of these areas that's not on GPS, well, then it would essentially never be found, because no boat is out cruising the ocean without GPS nowadays. It's just not something that people do. So I think that there's just so much information we can get from it. And one thing I've heard people say that's a little, they're like, well, you can't independently tour Antarctica. And yeah, but I don't really know if that's something we would do anyway, to be honest with you. I mean, we're going to find out that we're just out in the middle of nowhere, right? In the middle of snow. They have a camp there that they put there every year. But the reason we're able to go down there, I've heard people say, how come you guys can go down, but nobody else can? Well, there's a company called ALE that takes people there supposedly every year, but they only go about 3 trips, and it's not very many people, 50 people to, I think the max they can take is 70. So, and only 3 times a year. Now, in the COVID years, they didn't operate. I think they did say they went last year. I don't know how many trips. And then this year, in fact, there's a group down there. When we fly down there, they're going to get on the plane and fly them back. So there is a group down there. So, I mean, it is something that you can do as well. It's just going to cost you $35,000. So how many of you are going to spend that much to go, basically go down and freeze your butt off and not do much? And you don't even get to see penguins. We won't even see any penguins. The penguins don't live in there. There's no bugs, there's no spiders, there's no mites, there's no lice, there's no flies or ants or bushes or trees or brush. There's just snow. And supposedly it's stacked up 2 miles high. So that's what they say it is just nothing but ice that has continued to go up and up and up and up and up from a time in the past. So it is kind of an unforbidding place. I think it's probably going to be beautiful. And it's one of those experiences, well, I'll never get a chance to do that again. So I had to take advantage of it.
Fair enough. Jeran, I've got a question from another audience member here.
Okay.
Hi there, guys. You just answered pretty much, but my basic understanding is the treaties that we hold that 200 miles out, whatever day. So you've obviously got a public site there. Am I right in saying that you're not going somewhere there? You're not being allowed?
Are you understanding anything, Austin? Can you hear?
Maybe. Okay. I have to I'm really having to use context clues and inflection.
Can you say it again, Ian? Just
my question.
Go ahead.
My question is, you're not being allowed to go to. Are you being allowed to go somewhere we haven't been?
Correct. I mean, so that's because the company that's taking us down there is not going to take a chance of letting us go off by ourselves. I mean, there's no path, there's no roads, there's no signs. You would just probably get lost, I'm guessing. Now, they have some people that supposedly cross Antarctica solo, and they have like little GPS units that lead them where they're going. I don't know if that stuff's true. That's just what is proclaimed. I do remember one time a girl went across Antarctica, but she went to the South Pole and then went back the way she came. And I reached out to her blog and asked her why she didn't go to the other side. And she said they wanted to charge me $70,000 more to pick me up at the other side, which just didn't make a lot of sense. But again, maybe that is what they charge. I don't know. But I mean, for us, yeah, they're not going to let us go outside of the area. There's supposedly all these crevasses. So what they do is they get there early. They roll out there's basically, we land on a 3,000 foot ice runway. So it's a regular 757 jet, but it lands right on the ice. There's no runway there. It just lands on the ice in Antarctica. I could actually show you a video of it. Pretty crazy. But they roll out the runway, and then they go around with survey equipment and they mark off where these crevasses are, and you're not allowed to go outside of these little, basically flags, so that you don't get dead. Supposedly, right? I don't think they want that on their record. So yeah, they're not going to let you go very far. I do think that they said that there's a spot that they've cleared for us about 3 miles away from the camp where we could go and make sure that there's no mountains blocking any part of the sun's path. So I do think that they've said something like that. But that's basically all I know about that.
Jeran, one thing I would like to know, what equipment are you actually taking? What are you taking? I mean,
yeah,
we've spoken before, and is it going to be live streamed? Is there any live streaming?
Well, supposedly Duffy bought a Starlink base device so that he can get internet from Antarctica, and that we would be able to live stream. So that seems crazy to me, because it would almost seem like we would be the first ones ever to be able to do that. I've never seen a live stream from Antarctica. So that would be I would think that'd be weird. I would think it'd be pretty spectacular if that's what goes down. But I think that as far as what I'm bringing, I have my P900 that's been converted to infrared. So it's a great little infrared camera. I'm able to zoom in on the sun and show features on it. I'm also bringing my Sony CyberShot, which is just a regular camera for photographs. I've got, I bought a GoPro Hero 12, which is going to be worn as a chest cam. I bought it's called a Star Tracker mount that is meant to, or solar tracking mount. You basically set it up pointed at the sun, and it will stay focused on the sun the entire time. So I'm powering that completely through my goal is to have, if the sun circles, I want a 5-day time lapse of it doing that. So that's my plan, is to set up the tracker to basically follow the sun the entire time. And it would have with it, some external batteries to keep it running and basically daisy chain off those so you never lose power. And then it's got a nice camera on top of it that's going to be taking a time lapse every 30 seconds of the sun. So that's about 17,000 photographs over the 5 days. And that is it for me. I mean, I've got my GoPro session that I'll bring with me. I'm also going to bring my Osmo Pocket. And I'm also bringing a drone, as long as I haven't packed my bags yet. And we have a very limited amount of space that we can, I think it's 55 pounds is total. So I'm not positive if I can take the drone yet. If I can, I would like to take it and put it up, and I think that would be a great shot. So
the drone shot from there would be absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, me too. I think it would be awesome. So that's what I'm bringing. And I know as far as Duffy is bringing a 360 camera. He wants 360 time lapse of that. I'm not a big fan of the 360 videos because they're basically spliced together, right? They're two cameras facing out and spliced together. So I'd rather have the actual camera turning with the sun. And Dave McKeegan is going with us. He's a Glober, but he's a camera specialist. So he's going to have all kinds of equipment, I think he said. And it's good that he's going. At least if we have questions or something, that, at least there's a camera guy there. And I don't know what, Austin, what are you bringing?
I have like an Insta360
shoot.
camera, handheld 360 camera. Then I have like an older GoPro. I have to like kind of look into some of this actually, though. I don't know how well that still works because it kind of got destroyed on the tour. But then I got a P900, and then I could be able to bring a Starlink Mini. I don't know if I'm able to do that. We talk about 55 pounds. If you're just talking about, I don't know, do we have to bring our gear? The 55 pounds, that's right at like just the normal commercial limit. And so if you pack a bunch of hoodies in your suitcase, you got to be careful. You'll go over 50 pounds. So I don't know exactly how we're going to pack what we can pack. I heard that someone last night called up there and they said that they charged $35 per pound extra. So like another $50 bag is like $1,700 or something. So yeah, which is insane.
It's insane.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know what all can be brought or not, but obviously we're looking into, because what's cool about the Starlink is it's designed to actually melt ice and snow, and so like it'll, whatever, you can just leave it outside. It melts the snow off of it. So I would thought it'd be cool if I could also have one, but I don't know how all it's gonna work. So I guess that's where we are now. Now I actually do have another camera here. I have had 2 people last night looking to say that they'd let me use their camera. A couple people offering to try to start something to pitch in for extra cameras. So I'm actually supposed to be meeting with a bunch of people in Discord to really go through and hear everything out. What's the best dummy batteries? The best way to keep the batteries warm? What's the best SD cards? The best way to ensure that we have, the best basically quality to storage ratios? What's the best external batteries to use and the best cameras to use? And then I'll try to narrow it down, and obviously tripods for the camera. So I guess that's kind of all you can. I mean, there's only so much you can bring. Someone wants to give me specific compasses, wants me to bring specific compasses. I actually am thinking I might try to bring a mechanical gyro, because when you fly, I don't want to put that on my carry-on, but when you fly, it on a globe, if you start that up, as you start flying south, it should slowly tip, and it should eventually flip over. So if we're able to fly long enough, now I guess depending on my layovers to the south, or you really should see it start to tip a good amount when you went to Antarctica. And if it just sits there level and doesn't start tipping as you go, that actually disproves the globe. It would have to physically tip over. So I'm thinking about doing that, but that's a just kind of a list off the top of my head. I haven't really finalized everything because of trying to get clarity on the
we have our
luggage
first
situation.
And our first meeting is only today. So today's our first meeting with the entire group of us is getting together. So I'm sure we'll find out a lot today about exactly what will happen on each day, where we'll be, how much time we'll have at certain spots, what kind of equipment we'll need. First time meeting with Dave McKeegan will be today. So I guess we'll find out a lot today. But
Jeran, I was thinking, what would really have been cool is if we got to send like one of those $30,000 high altitude balloons.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. I don't think they let you take helium on planes though.
I'm just saying, like that.
Yeah, if they had it down
a
there,
high altitude balloon would be incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know they got bases down there, and they launch balloons down there all the time. NASA does. So I don't know where they're getting the helium to get down there, but that would.
And then we need to
awesome.
take the infrared on the actual camera, on the actual plane. You need to bring the infrared so that we can actually take shots as we're flying into Antarctica and see if we can kind of Jade Tolan Antarctica.
Yeah.
Guys, I've got a question from another audience member. Hi guys, how are you? I've got a question. The first one I suppose is for Austin, and then the second one will be for both of you. Austin, you are the first person that got me to know the term of electrostatics, and how that is actually an explanation for gravity. There is someone else on YouTube called Level-Headed William, and he goes very much against that notion. He says that we're accelerating upwards to go all to different surfaces. So, what is your opinion on that? Will you do a debate? And the other question for both of you is, so we've got a final experiment, which would be an expedition, as you said. What do you think about using drones, like your own drones, to do an actual final experiment? You know what I mean? Because there's nothing that stops us from creating drones that are helium power and solar power that could be there forever. And if everyone is like working in an open source fashion, they can 3D print a lot of the parts and then visually print anything they want to do in the world. And then how are you going to stop a fleet of drones? We'll go back to that.
Hey, I tried really hard to listen. I'm going to tell you, but we cannot hear almost anything you're saying. I can tell you what I kind of heard. I heard you mention something about level heads, talking to someone like level heads. You said that I was the first person to something, and you mentioned level heads.
You're the first person in the flat Earth movement to fully address electrostatics.
Okay.
And obviously the guy that this guy mentioned, level-headed, is against electrostatics. Level-headed. And he's more of the Earth rising upwards, a bit like and a few other crazy things.
You want me to address the idea? Okay. of the Earth moving up compared to electrostatics. So yeah, every time I talk to someone that thinks that the Earth is moving up, I ask them, okay, but you're claiming that the Earth moves up at a constant velocity, but objects fall at different rates at the same location at different times, and they fall at different rates at different locations, also at different times. So is the Earth moving at a constant rate or it's not? Because the objects are constantly falling different rates. And typically what they will say is, oh, well, there are other variables. Maybe electrostatics affects how fast it falls. So all of a sudden, they have to kind of invoke the electric field, which they were just saying has nothing to do with it. And then the idea is that there is no displacement. But of course, if it actually varies at how fast the objects fall, there would have to be displacement. If the Earth, and the idea that the Earth is moving up at a constant rate, but the objects are falling at different rates, that causes displacement. There's now a difference there. So I've never had any of them answer those in good faith, but yeah, I mean, it's very obvious. Everything's electric. There's an electric field. There's a downward electric current, and it's the unifying truth. Everything is electric and unified. And then there is a theory of everything, but they don't utilize this because it doesn't work for their model. So I think that's a huge portion of what we're being lied to about, and that's one of the biggest proofs against the globe, is that it's actually parallel distribution of charge. It should be radial distribution. I'm not trying to get too technical with you guys and lose you. I mean, there should be radial distribution of the charge. So,
and I think as far as the Earth moving up, one of the easiest ways to what they're saying is they're saying, why is there no displacement down? So if you took a bottle of water and you basically move it left, the water's going to go right. Move it right, the water's going to go left. Move it up, the water will go down. But if you move it down, they want to know why the water doesn't go up. So they think that means that the Earth is rising up. But really the reason that happens is because the water is already going down in here, right? So everything is already going down. My desk is going down. I'm going down. The water's going down. Everything's already headed down. It's just the desk is blocking it. So the water sits here in the little glass. So that means that when you drop it, it's already going there. So you shouldn't expect it to displace like the other direction. The other directions, you're actually throwing it off of, it's going down. You move it to the left, so then it swishes right. Move it right, swishes left. So to move it down is exactly the direction it's already going. So I wouldn't expect displacement going down. I wouldn't expect that. So that to me is easily refuted because it's a preferred direction, right? They want to pretend like there's no preferred direction. And then they'll even ask questions like, well, why isn't down over there? Why is down this way? Why wouldn't it be on the wall? And it's like, well, if down was over there, then we would be standing over there and we would be saying, why is this down? So for all we know, it is over there, right? No matter where you're at, you're going to say, why is this down? You can never get away from that there always has to be a direction down. I believe that God had to set it, and that's what he did. So wherever we ended up, we would be asking the question, well, why is this down? Well, it's because it has to be in some direction. So it's the same thing as asking, why does, low pressure go to, high pressure go to low pressure, or why does hot go to cold? It's just kind of the way it is. So that's that. What else was in that question that I missed?
Why don't we all, as a people, get lots and lots of drones and take some sort of custom-made drones and do our own experiments like that and get a full fleet of drones and do something with it?
Well, drones only go, so I have a DJI Mavic that somebody gave me to just loan me, and it goes like 5 miles, which is impressive. But 5 miles is it. And then it only goes about 300 meters. So that's what, 1,500 feet? No, 900 feet. Maybe it goes 500 meters, 1,500 feet. Anyway, 1,500 feet isn't very high to see very much area, right? You're not going to see a lot further. So in concept, it's a good idea, but I don't think in practicality, like if we did that in Antarctica where we're going to be, it's not like we'd be able to see much more than if we walked another 10 miles in or another 20 miles in or another 50 miles in or 100 miles in or even 1,000 miles in. You're going to have the same view of just ice. Now, again, we don't know that. We've never been there. So that's why I do want to take the drone there and see what we see. But as far as like an experiment with a bunch of drones, you would need people spread out quite a bit, right? It's not like we could all be in the same area, but we would have to be spread out. The drones.
And normally the software of the drones is based on the actual permission of that location, and it will actually stop your drone. It will literally not let the drone. Yeah.
Or you can't only go a certain height.
Right. It'll just stop it. Like I've tried it. I've tried to buck the system.
Right. I just stopped it as the ceiling.
Yeah.
Listen, I know time is getting on and I know your time is precious. I've got just a couple of questions. And one of these questions is really important, I think. Let's say, for example, there's a lot of people think you might see the 24-hour sun, right? Every glober is going to think you're going to see it. Some flat earthers think you're going to see it via manipulation, via whatever. And a lot of others believe the same, that the only matter is and you won't see it. So let me ask this question, possibly to probably you, Austin. When we discovered flat Earth and the obviousness of it, it's about how on Earth can they contain this from the masses. So my question to you is, let's say you get to Antarctica and there is no 24-hour sun, as we predict. Do you think they could be now going, you know what, there's no 24-hour sun. Let's do a soft sell to the people that it's actually flat.
Yeah, well, they would have to do it at that point. I mean, I can't see how they could even get out of this at all. If we saw the sun setting, which is why we think it's the least likely outcome, that they would let us go down there and just see and document the sun setting. But that's over. I don't know how you could do any soft sell anything. It is definitively geometrically, physically impossible that it is a globe, and that would be insane. So I mean, you know, the question being like, would they want that to happen? Did they allow that to happen? Who's they? Who knows? But
I mean, do you think that's a possibility in the fact that Will Duffy's come from nowhere, this whole thing's come from nowhere, and someone else is funding this thing to prove something or something else?
So basically the idea being that Duffy was kind of put in place, or this was orchestrated because they chose to start to roll out the flat earth truth now.
Yeah, this is what I think. This is in my mind.
That would be crazy. That would be crazy. I mean,
we've already got globe earthers. These main globe earth channels have already said they'll shut down their channel and become flat earthers if we see the sunset. So
yeah.
Is McToon going? And is he going? I've heard McToon is going independently to do his own filming. Is that right?
I don't know. What do you mean? He's going with ALE.
Yeah. So he's going as in he didn't get his trip paid for, but he's going with our group.
He's going on his own to film. He's not under contract with anybody.
We're just yeah. Just stay McTuned.
Stay McTuned. Yeah. Yes, he's not with our group, but he's with ALE. So.
Yeah.
We have other questions. Hold on, guys.
Okay.
Stay with us. Thank you.
Hello, guys. Thank you for being here with us. I basically want to go back to the news where Benjamin Costello went to Antarctica, and I was part of the team organizing medical repatriation and beyond. This was the broken arm, and when we wanted to pick him up in a military airplane, we basically had his full crew board the aircraft, and importantly, we had them 30 people on board. I just was curious to find out who else is going to with you. I mean, it's like celebrity going there, like that sort of stuff, different categories. Yeah. I just wondered if you have somebody who doesn't know your food, for example, if you have a medic there. I'm just also worried about your safety, guys. And I don't want to see any full play like from anybody. I just wondered who else is actually there next to the people you named already, like a support for you or something.
We need some help there.
Okay. Do you have other people going with you? I know that you two and a lady you mentioned. Do you have a support crew, a medical crew, etc., etc.?
Yes.
Yeah, they have all the stuff for emergencies or if something happens. And I got hands, bro. So
what are you cooking?
It's our bodyguard down there. No, they have medical staff, a doctor, a dentist that are down there supposedly. And then we also had to buy we didn't pay for it, Duffy did, but pretty expensive insurance that they require, extraction insurance, which is like a $500,000 policy that if you got sick or injured or something that they have to come and extract you from Antarctica. And that was a pretty expensive insurance. I did see the amount of that. So that's so you said doctors, support staff. Yeah, there's going to be obviously ALE members down there, or employees. There's chefs, supposedly chefs cook in the little tent down there, and there's like excursion leaders. But that's basically it that I know of. Is that what you mean as far as staff?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's where we were going. I think the thought of it was to make sure that you guys are going to be safe and protected while you're down.
Yeah, we feel safe and protected. I mean, we're going with one other girl. So the flat earthers are so far going to be three of us, myself, Austin, and then there's a girl who won what they call the golden ticket, where they basically had people submit entries, and then they picked one person to go with us. So her name's Elizabeth. She won, and so it's going to be us three. Now, I do think that there's one, maybe there's a spot open. I'm not sure if it's still open. One of the Globers canceled or got sick or something and can't go. So there is a ticket available for one other person. It's
I'll take it.
Well, it's $16,000. It's half price, so 16,000. You have 16,000?
Right. All right. Hey, look. We're gonna be safe. We're gonna be good.
There you go. See.
Excellent, guys. Listen, what I do want to do is if you could all get into a middle bit, because we're going to wish them a good luck on their journey. If you could all do that, all come in and just say, so we can get on the camera. You're not going to see us all, but we all want to say here from Flat Earth. I don't think you're going to get them all in. There's plenty of people here. We just want to wish you very fair journey. We want to support you with it. We want to make sure you do it all properly. So from everyone here at Flat Earth Social, well done, Jeran. Well done, Austin. Thank you very much.
You.
We appreciate it.
Very kind of you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Love you guys.
Say some prayers and make sure, you think about us. And if you want to help out with the sun, just get a good video of it. Say what time it is, where you're at, your longitude, latitude, and a video of the sun, and just say it's off at 190 degrees right now or whatever. And then we'll just ask for those to be turned in or sent in, and we'll be able to put something together to at least as of December 20th or so, we should have a good idea of what the sun is doing in the south.
Jeran, can you just say where it is, when you're going, what date, and where exactly you're flying to?
So the trip in Antarctica is the 14th through the 18th of December, and we are leaving like the 10th, and we don't get back till like the 21st. But yeah, 14th through 18th is the main days. Again, we could go a day early, come back a day early, or go a day late, come back 2 days late. You don't really know. I guess it's hit and miss. And we're going to 80 degrees south. So that's another thing that, a lot of people, if you take a cruise or something, you barely get to the Antarctic Circle. Basically, all the cruises go to that little fishtail that pops out. So it's very rare that you would go into Antarctica. So 80 degrees is pretty far in. I think that leaves 650 miles to the pole. So that's not really that many miles. Basically, the distance, that's like the height of California is basically about 650 miles. So pole. Yeah, exactly. So, and it's 80 degrees south, and it's called Union Glacier Camp. And the company that's taking us is called ALE. And yeah, they have these trips supposedly every year, or at least one of these ones. It's just basically go down there, and it's not a skiing trip. It's not a high activity trip. It's more for people like me. But I'm from California my whole life, so I'm in for a treat. I can already tell. I've never shoveled snow in my entire life, and I'm about to be in 4-degree temperature. So looking forward to it.
Listen, we really appreciate. I know your time is tight, guys, especially you, Austin. I hope your children are good. We really appreciate the fact you've come on to us here. We all support you, and I think we're going to do a little donation and send you some bits on your way. Jeran, I've got a Flat Earth Social flag, okay, which I'm going to send to you as quick as I possibly can.
And I'm going to plant it?
Yes. What we want you to do here is when you get to Antarctica, I want you to claim it for Flat Earth Social.
Okay.
I'll send it to you via DHL, or as quick as I can.
You got to get it here quick.
So you send it all for us. I'd appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen,
thank you so much.
Please give a warm, fantastic round of applause for these two guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Ian.
Jeran, Austin, thanks.
Thank you, guys. Much love.
We'll be following your journey.
Okay.
Awesome.
God bless you both.
Later. All righty. And remove. All right, and I think Austin left. All right, so let me. Oops, sorry, that's not good on the screen. Anybody have any questions in the chat, real quick? I'll give you 2 minutes. And then we gotta go. We have a meeting coming up. I have all kinds of shit going on today. Busy. Oh, 488 people are watching that. Anybody in the chat have a question for me? Make sure you put at Jeranism real quick. We got 5 or 10 minutes. I can stay, and then I gotta go. But let me get something different on the screen so you don't have to look. Whoa, what is that? Very scary. Very cool. Where's webcam? So, nope, main. Okay. That's going to be good enough. Where's the webcam? Yeah, I mean, again, there probably isn't a south. What is the South Pole? We don't know. What are we calling that? But at 80 degrees south, we at least know we're pretty deep in. What do they say? 69 miles per degree, and the Antarctic Circle is 66, so that's what? Only 14 degrees. 14 times 69. That's in from the ice wall, I guess. Let me go to webcam. Oh, here we go. Are you taking any chewing tobacco to Antarctica? No chewing tobacco. Last time I had chewing tobacco, I threw up. That was a long time ago, though. Make sure you check compass at location. Yeah, I don't think it'll really work, but I do have a nice compass that, by the way, thank you, Wendy B. Level. She purchased for me a very nice compass, so that'll be going with us. Let's see if there's anything else here. Has Austin had a stroke? His mouth is all slouchy to the right. I think he's just tired. Probably not had a stroke. Nope. He's got the Bell's palsy. We've got Alliance Entertainment says, Jeranism, do you do any work with allegedly Dave Murphy? Yeah, we've done a couple shows together, and he was one of my VIPs just about maybe a month ago. So he comes to the VIP hangout and hung out with everybody, talked to them. We've got, make sure you put at Jeranism. Jeran doesn't work, Scott Page. Jeran, have you looked into Lisbeth being a proper flat earther? She's only been one since the experiment was being organized. No, I mean, she's been a flat earther for longer than that. And if you've listened to her, go to Clubhouse. She is not coached. She's a believer. I think that there's no doubt about it to me. So, again, if people got now, did she fulfill the 2-year requirement of Will Duffy? I'm not really sure, but that's besides the point. I think that he said he accepted whatever she gave, so that's not on me. Is that boat race happening now? Yeah, the Vendée Globe is going on now. But it's like it's 80 days, I think, till the winter usually comes in at 80 to 90 days. So it's going to barely be, they won't even be going around Antarctica yet, I don't think. That's going fast. Have you tried using any camera equipment with gloves on? Yes. And the gloves have the touchscreen, fingertips on them. The only thing I haven't done is test some of the time-lapse stuff in the freezer. The GoPro did great. GoPro worked great in the freezer with the battery charger in the freezer. It's hard for me to say what it would have had if it wasn't in the freezer, but it lasted long enough that I'll be fine with it. What did it say there? Sorry. What if it's cloudy? Yeah, that's probably what it would be, right? That would make a lot of sense if it was. Because then Duffy's going to get back. We're going to get back. We're going to say we didn't prove anything. And then Duffy's going to be out 160,000, which means who would go next year? Where could someone find content about the twilight times? The problem with twilight times is this is why you need to do it yourself, because what the globe considers twilight is mathematical. So they say when the sun is 6% below the horizon, it's called twilight. When it's 12%, it's called something else. And when it's 18%, something else, or 18 degrees, sorry, not percent. So that's a kind of a problem because, of course, would the north and the south be identical? Of course, right? Because you're just taking the theoretical 6 degrees under, 12 degrees under, 18 degrees under. So it's not really an actual measurement of light. But if you were to take a real measurement of light, and somebody in somebody in Australia right now, and I've said this before, what should be happening is a alternate thing, right? So in the north, right now, we have had reduced sunlight time after sunset. So think about it. If you're in the north and the sun sets, you have a limited amount of time before it's dark, and you get a little bit of residual light, right? Well, right now, as we move towards December 21st, that's going to be increasing as far as decreasing the amount of time that we have sun after sunset because it's getting towards the winter. Well, the same thing is going on in the south, and it should be the opposite. Right now in Australia, they should be having longer time after sunset, just like we get longer time in our summer. So think of June or July. June or July, the sun sets, but it stays light for many hour and a half sometimes after because of the way that the sun moves. But the reason that we think that this is an anomaly is because on the flat Earth map, the sun moves faster or slower for everybody. So right now, as we go towards December 21st, the sun is getting faster every day. So since it's moving faster, everybody's getting reduced sunlight time after sunset. As soon as December 21st comes, we have a reversal of that. It starts going back into the middle. So everybody on Earth is getting more time after sunset because everybody on Earth is experiencing the sun get slower and slower and slower as it gets to the inside. So that is completely opposite of what we should see on the globe, which should be opposite. Right now, if you're in Australia, this is what I would do is over the next couple nights, check when the sun sets, how much time you have after sunset. That you can mark that down and then check again come March or April or May, and you watch what happens. You're going to have more time then than you have now. That doesn't make any sense. Right now is when your summer is. You should be having longer time after. But we know, at least in my book, that's why we know that the AE map seems to be correct with some of those predictions. Jeran, is this your first trip? I lost it. Hold on. Shit. Is this your boat race happening now? Where could somebody find it? Okay, is this your first trip out of America? No. I was a speaker in Amsterdam. I went to World Youth Day 1994 at the Philippines. I've been to Mexico. I've been to Canada. So I've been around. I just haven't been anywhere cold because I'm a puss. Where could somebody find... Oh, you got that one? Does the 55 pounds include parka, gloves, boots, everything? Everything, including my tripods. I mean, this is why it's a nightmare. It's like, how do they even expect us to do that? The only thing it doesn't include for a couple things that we're renting, I guess, down there, like snow boots, a big jacket, and what's the other thing? Something else that I think we're renting. Oh, sleeping bag. So those items won't be included. But if we were taking those, it would be included. That's it. Jeran, do you think NDT and Shatner are going there after you guys to do damage control? No, I think that's just a misnomer. It's they're going on a cruise, so they won't even see the 24-hour sun. They're going to be south of the 66, as far as I know. Maybe they do get off on the land. I don't really know, but it doesn't really have anything to do with this trip. Damage control. That would be interesting, though. That would mean that we did see it. So I still have hope. I still think that that I have not been wrong all these years. So I do think that the sun does set. I think that are there globers that are completely confident and cocky as could be that the sun circles? Yeah, of course there are, because they're globers. They think everything that they were told is true. And so I'm not surprised by the fact that they're very confident that we will see a 24-hour sun. Do I understand that it would be really weird for them to let us see it set? Yes. And I understand, but there's a part of me that hopes, like they were talking about, could it be some sort of rollout where they needed somebody to go down there and observe it and film it? This way, it's not the government who comes on TV and says, by the way, we've been lying to you about Antarctica, that it's actually somebody who shows it. And then who do you really blame, right? Who's to blame? It's just like 9/11. Okay, it happened, but who do we blame? Who's going to jail? Nobody. So that's a possibility. Now, again, do I recognize that that's a 3% chance? Yes. I do recognize that. So, but again, we'll see what happens. The other thing, just so you know, we are getting satellite phones. I guess Austin's getting one. I'm trying to get one loaned from Iridium. And supposedly we'll be able to update you on our location. We'll be able to send you to a website, and you'll actually be able to track us the entire time, as long as we both have one. Jeran, oh shit, I lost you. Let me go back up. Jeran, we were having like 14 hours daylight in Uruguay. Yeah, you didn't hear what I said. I said the time after sunset. So you'd have to watch the sunset. As soon as it disappears, you last see it at the so-called horizon, then start a stopwatch and tell me how long the sun remains until it's dark, right? So right now you're probably getting 45 minutes. Now, come June or July, then do it, and you'll notice that you're getting an hour and 15. But that's your winter. So you see what's happening is that everybody's experiencing the sun doing its circles faster and slower. Where are we at here? Praying for a successful trip. Thank you very much. Very nice. Kingdom in Context. Guys, check him out. That's Sean over there. Jeran, as McToon sits down to pee, please just make sure to let us all know, okay? I'm sure that... Don't you already know that? I thought that was a known thing. Any plans to visit Svalbard in the northern summer in the future? No, I feel pretty confident about the 24-hour sun in the north. I got my kid's having a problem. We've got kids. We've got subscribers of mine that are in Iceland, some in Norway, some in Alaska. The guy who gave me the drone is actually in northern Alaska, so he experiences it. Bob Nodell went there twice. Daryl Marble went there and filmed it. So that's a pretty much known thing. And if you think about it, I mean, we should be able to do this, right? Even though some people will tell you we don't know what the sun does, which is crazy. We know exactly what the sun does. We just don't know what it does in the south. But if you think about the sun, we know that it doesn't ever go above the North Pole, right? We know that. And we know that it never goes above, and I mean above the heads of somebody at the North Pole. And we know it doesn't go above the heads of somebody in the south. So it definitely travels between the tropics or somewhere near there. And it travels in a circle, because how do we know that? We know the layout of the continents. The continents are not wrong. Africa is not where South America is, and South America goes where Africa is. That doesn't make any sense. We know the order of the sun. It goes, hits Africa, then South America, then hits Hawaii, then hits New Zealand and Australia and India and back around. So we know the layout of the continents is like the AU map or is like the globe. There's no question of that. So the people telling you, oh, there's another map, we need to do, well, we kind of know the layout of the land. We kind of know that. So once you know that, then you can make determinations. People say you can't make determinations of the ground based on the sky. I see why you would say that. But at the same time, if you know what happens in the sky, let's say you had a house that you knew had a train that went on the ceiling on a particular path every day for thousands of years. The train went on the ceiling in a circle, in a path. Well, if somebody starts making observations from the ground of what the train does, if the train is doing something that isn't possible on your layout on the ground, then you could disprove the layout on the ground. Meaning that if there's a curve in the ground or something that you don't see because it's too whatever, that based on the thing moving in the sky, you can make determinations because it would be impossible, right? So for instance, if that train's just going in a circular track and then somebody sees it going the opposite direction, then couldn't you make determinations about, well, what might we be standing on if we're seeing the item that we know does a certain something? Now, people would argue that and say, we don't know what the sun does. So that's up to you. I know that the sun does not U-turn. I know that the sun does not do-si-do and go in different directions. The sun is a consistent path. It's a circle around the earth, around the top of the flat earth. So if we know that the sun circles, then I think we can make determinations. Like for instance, if we all went out and stood on the equator, everybody on earth stands on the equator, we'd be able to watch the sun on the equinox go above everybody's head. It would, okay, it's above my head. It's above my head. Okay, it's above my head. It's above my head. So we can prove that the sun circles the equator on the equinox. That's just, if people want to argue that, that's fine. You can argue with that. I think you're just not understanding the things that we should be arguing and the things that we shouldn't. But the circling sun is a known thing. Just because some people tell you that it doesn't circle doesn't mean it doesn't. We know people can stand at the north and see the sun actually circle, right? So let's see what else we got here. Any plans to visit? Oh, I read that one. Jeran, is a priest going to perform an exorcism? No. No priests. Well, I guess a pastor's going. A pastor's going, but no priest. Let's see what else we got here. What if the rumors were true about the light being 24 hours there, but read the old text about the places that are neither light nor dark? Why would that happen? I have no idea what you mean by that. Places that are neither light nor dark? What does that mean? I don't know. There's another option. But we don't expect, I see a bunch of people who keep telling me, like, are you taking a sextant for what? You mean for the stars? It's not going to be dark there. We don't expect it to be dark. We just expect the sun to set, and then because of the coffee cup caustic or because of the reflectivity of the snow everywhere, it could stay light. Moses, I didn't read that. Sorry. If a sun that isn't rising, I see it as it goes away. I see a flat earth farm. I'm sorry. Satellite phones, I thought satellites were fake. Yeah, well, so did we. So we got to find out what that is that we're getting. Supposedly, Iridium has some satellites that are there. Now, if you've heard Wissett talk, and I agree with him, that it could be that satellites are there. They're just different than we've been described. And he describes them as they're all proof of a flat Earth because they use the geocentric Earth-fixed coordinate system that has to be use transform equations to get to the model that they want. You have to ask him about that. He says it better than me. You have your caps lock button on? Me? Oh, somebody else. Oh, gosh, I'm not doing very good. You're not looking at my webcam. Jeran, I'm so incredibly proud of you for doing this. P.S. Thank you for the birthday wish a couple weeks ago. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I think that we felt that we were good people to do it. I mean, when it was offered to us, I was afraid to let it go because I said, well, if it goes down the line, I don't know who's going to end up with this trip, and can I put any trust into them? And I hate to say that I'm selfish, and I'm like, well, I trust myself, right? But I think it's better that Wissett and I go. I don't think that they can really get one over on us. I think that our contract is ironclad. I think that we've thought ahead of a bunch of things. We spent hours discussing this. because we wanted to make sure. And so that's where we are there. I think that, I don't know if it's necessarily going to be fun. It's going to suck. But it will be beautiful. I have no doubt about that. I've seen videos of and I'll just show real quick that one thing of where did I say I was going to show you the plane landing at Union Glacier. So it does, I've heard lots of different things being said, that there's no windows on the plane. There is windows on this plane. They own a 757. Here it is right here. Put it over here. ALE owns a 757 jet. Where are we at here? Sorry, to figure something out. Let's go with this one. The other right video. Close enough. So this is them. Basically, they have clothes you bring with you, and these guys are getting ready to get off the plane as it's getting ready to land here at Union Glacier. So, I mean, just that view right there, I can't even imagine that. It's just incredible to me. That's just, how could that even exist? It doesn't match my reality at all. So supposedly that's what we'll see. So again, when people say you're in the wrong spot, I mean, if you're landing a plane here, where do you think you are? You know, I mean, it's 4.5 hours from Punta Arenas. You're flying south. If this is what we see. Now, this is why Alex Stein didn't want to go. Alex Stein didn't want to go because he said he would not allow the plane to land on the ice. He was afraid of that. So that's the least of my worries. I think that the plane will get down just fine. But I think that I'll freeze my Naugus off for sure. And so this is it landing there at Union Glacier. And it lands right on the ice. There's no asphalt. There's no cement. They just roll it with a roller. And the ice is so compacted and from all the years. So basically, if you don't know how Antarctica works real quick, they barely get any snow or rain. But what happens is the rain and snow that comes here just stays there because it never gets below freezing. So, I'm sorry, it never gets above freezing. So supposedly this is just ice stacked on top of ice after ice after ice for years and years and years. And that's why it's 2 miles high, is it's 2 miles high of ice that's been accumulated over time. That's what they say. But there is it gets like 3/4 of an inch of rain a year, which is like what we would get in the night. And very little snow. They call it a desert. It's the driest, coldest, windiest place on Earth. And here's it landing. Oh, that looks a little bit choppy. A little rough. Yeah, take that down. So this is the 757. Oh, geez. Didn't need to watch that. 757 plane. It's got windows. And they're only... The most people they can take down there is 70. It's the maximum occupancy, and the plane holds 250. So you're basically going to have your own window seat, your own aisle. Be very, I don't even think the thing's sold out. So this thing will come to a stop here, and then you basically get out. Let's go a little further. Here we go. So there's the plane there, and you basically are out on the ice. And at that moment there, I'll realize what a stupid move that was of going on this trip. And yeah, so seeing things like this, I just can't even picture. I've flown a lot of places in the world, but I've never seen anything like that. So, and by the way, I'm taking the webcam. I know that the people who helped me purchase it, they're getting the footage right when I get back. Everybody else, just give it a little bit of time. But I'll have a GoPro on my chest. I'll try and turn it on about 15 minutes every hour I'm awake. So that should be about 30 hours of total footage for the couple days. And then as soon as I can, I'll do the time-lapse footage to get the video of the sun if that's what happens, or if it sets, that's what happens. And we should go live, so expect a live stream from both Punta Arenas and Antarctica. Be able to show you something. That's what Duffy says. Again, I wouldn't hold my breath on the live stream. So if we got here, question. Oops, I just saw one. Why does it always go that way? As soon as I start scrolling. Question, are you going to get a blood test? No. DNA and a hidden tattoo for identification. If you get altered on your trips, I'm out. I've already said, this is how you know I've been... what do you call it? Compromised. Is if I come back and say the sun is 93 million miles away, compromised. If I come back and say the moon landings are real, compromised. If I come back and say the earth is spinning, compromised. If I come back and say that, there's a lot of things I can come back and say that would make you say, oh, Jeran's been compromised, because none of those things can be determined by this test, right? For me, though, it can determine, and I know not everybody has to agree with me. We can all have different opinions. You don't need to bank on my beliefs, or I don't need to bank on yours. But for me, if you're asking me what my opinion would be, yeah, if I see the 24-hour sun, I just know that the A map that I've been using for years is pretty wrong. It's just wrong because there's nobody who's ever been able to explain it, and it just wouldn't make sense. There is no time for the sun to be making a U-turn to go hang out in Antarctica, it has to get all the way to the other side of the Earth. So to me, it's a very definitive observation. It's hard for me to say what I would think because I need to see it. It needs to be perfect, right? Not something where the clouds are out for 4 days and we only see a little sliver of. No, I mean, then I'm going to have a different opinion. So I think it's better just to wait and see what I see and then just worry about that. When I come back and I tell you what I see, say, can we see the footage? And then you get to see the footage and you make up your own minds. It shouldn't even matter what it does to my belief or doesn't. And I'm sure you'll find that out. But Jeran, do you know of any evidence of any observation of a circling moon in the north? Yes. So the moon does what the sun does in a month. Sorry. The moon does in a month what the sun does in a year. So what do we know the sun does in a year? Goes to the high part of the tropic, then to the low, right? So the moon does the same thing, but it does it in a month, meaning that for 2 weeks of the month, the moon can be seen 24 hours a day in the south, and for 2 months, it can be seen in the north. Supposedly, that's what the globe model calls for. Now, what do we actually see? We don't have really anybody in Antarctica. What is wrong with the kid? Jeez. He's not having a good day. Jeran, do you know of any... Let's see. There's... Man, you turn sun is foot up. What? Don't know what that says. Jeran, at this point, through your dealings with Duffy, scale 1 to 10, how much do you trust him and his intentions? I mean, it depends on what you're talking about. Are you talking about from a, like, is he plant? Is he a shill of some type or government operative? I think very, very low chance. I just haven't caught him in the lies that everyone claims. Does he have a kind of funky smile? Yep. But I went back and watched his his financial interviews, and he has the same smile. He's been very nice to me. We had a couple of disagreements about what is out-of-pocket costs and what is expenses. Those got basically ironed out. But I've seen how much money he's paid for me, so it's hard to knock somebody who's writing, $30,000 checks for you. So I would say, how much do I trust him? I don't know. I mean, I'm iffy because of the whole McToon thing. I'm iffy because he clearly is a globe believer who's very confident. But that's what I would expect, right? I don't think there's very many globe believers that would be. We haven't found those wishy-washy globe believers, right? There's the ones who it's definitely a globe and you're the dumbest people in the world. Or there's the people who are flat earthers. There's really not a lot of people that are like, well, I kind of believe in the globe, but I kind of. So he's just like every other glober. They believe that what they were taught is true, and there is no reason to question it. So they go down there with very much confidence. And so that doesn't really surprise me. But me personally, I don't see any reason to think that we'll, and there's a couple signs of that as well to me. The whole Lisbeth Acosta thing that he fell for, he would never fell for that if he was some sort of government operative. They wouldn't even have allowed him to introduce another person into the story the way that it happened. And then I was kind of part of that in the way that it was one of my VIPs who reached out and said, it was me. I did it. I'm the one who did the final experiment. It's a joke. It's going to be it's a laugher. Tomorrow, there's going to be nobody there to pay it. I'm like, what'd you do that for? I'm like, nah, that looks terrible on Flat Earth. But what it does is when you're in the inside track like that, you can kind of make some determinations like, okay, this is one of my VIPs who did this on his own to mess with Duffy, and it worked, but it would be never something that would have happened if Duffy was controlled. They just would have never been like, oh yeah, and if anybody decides to pay for somebody else, just let them and then pick a random person. It's just not going to happen. But again, I know a lot of people in this community absolutely hate him for whatever reason. I just don't think it's founded. I don't think that it, over time, he's gotten a little bit more rude and a little bit more abrupt, and I get it. People have not treated him like good at all, right? So maybe there's reason for that. We'll find out, or maybe there's not. But I don't think we should treat people like that just because they have a different opinion. Did he lie to Sean from Kingdom in Context? Absolutely. Has he made some ridiculous statements about the firmament being the crust of the earth? Absolutely. But again, I don't call somebody a Satanist because they have a different belief than me. Some of you guys do that. Some of you would say, oh, he believes in that about the firmament, then he's a Satanist. He's a pastor. You can go watch his preaching. He says he preaches on the Bible. So he seems like a pastor to me. And that's about it. So that's my answer. I guess I didn't give you a number. I don't think that he's compromised. I don't think that he works for anybody. I think that he's an opportunist who kind of looks at this as no matter what happens, he is the name behind it, right? So whether we see the sunset and we can prove the earth is flat, then he's the guy who did it. And if we don't and we see the sun circle, then he's the one who put a huge dent, if not a destructive blow into the AE map. If the sun has good visibility, will Will there be a way to check angular measurements of it throughout the day? Yep. There's, I think MC Tune's bringing that, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. We'll talk to everybody today. Oh, what time is it? What time is that meeting today? Hold on. 1, 2. Oh, 2. All right. I got an hour. Best place on Earth to see stars is at remote site in Antarctica studies show. Stars viewed from a place called Dome A. Yeah, but that would be during the winter, not during the summer. So don't expect to see any stars, I don't think. I trust you guys. Thank you. Yeah, and you don't need to trust us. What you need to do is be diligent about the footage we bring back, right? Just think of everything we've gotten before. You've gotten basically Anthony Powell to show you a twisting sun one time. You have that other guy that shows you the one that's tied together. Well, that's not a lot of evidence to base things off of. When we come back, you should have so much footage that's coming out of your ears, and everything should match. You shouldn't have differences, right? Because if I'm filming the sun and somebody's over here and somebody's over here, then you should be able to look at those 3 videos and be able to say, yes, this was actually them filming the sun. There's not one video that you have to believe this. It's going to be multiple videos, and that's something that's important to me. Is to I don't want you to have to depend on what I say. I want you to demand of me the footage. And then here's my GoPro stuff. Here's the 24-hour time lapse if that works. Here's my infrared camera shots. And then you can decide for yourself based on this. And maybe you look at them and you say, you know what, there's too many anomalies here. This doesn't look real to me. And that's your choice, right? You're basing that off of evidence then. At least you're basing it off data. Dude, I'm everything you need on this trip. All right, well, there's a $16,000 ticket. Call Duffy. If you have $16,000, there's one more spot available. Jeran, is anyone claiming they have seen a 24-hour sun down there? If so, are there many people claiming? No, not a lot. No, not really evidence. I mean, there's a couple videos you can find. There's a 5-day video that's surfaced over the last couple of years. The people who work there, the people that are down there right now, you can go to Instagram, search Antarctica. You can find people that are supposedly at McMurdo right now, and they say there's a 24-hour sun. But there's not a lot. I'm not saying that there's thousands or even hundreds. But are there 4 that you could find on Instagram? Yeah. Could those 4 be lying? Sure, of course. What's likely? I don't know. We're going to have to go down and find out. I don't like that whole guessing game, and especially for me right now, because I'm like, we're 2 weeks away from knowing. So I just, why bother my brain with speculation about whether the people are really down there, whether they're telling the truth? I'll be down there. I'll get to look and see it for myself. Thank you. Yeah, hopefully the sun sets. You guys can, that'd be great. Make sure you take an altimeter so you know your altitude. Okay, good call. I don't think I have one of those. Well, don't we have one on our phone? And if we have the Iridium device, I'm sure that says it, but we'll find out that. They're supposed to get back to me today. Because it's like a $1,500 device. Somebody's donating one, or not, somebody's loaning one to Austin, and I'm trying to get one from Iridium. Be careful. They definitely won't let you get there. They would rather crash that plane than let the truth out. I mean, that would be the worst thing for them to do. This is why sometimes it's better to be public. Then if they crash a plane, so help me God, you guys better get your ass together, get your shit together, and let the world know that there's a reason for that, right? Don't let us die in jest. If that's the way we go down, then you should know what the reason for that is. I don't have any fear about the flight. Duffy will be on it. I don't think they're trying to kill the ALE pilots and McKeegan and McToon and all of us. It just doesn't make sense to me. That would be worldwide news, and then they are just even worse off than they are now. Will you do the same video recording if there are clouds? Yes, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, I won't stop it because there's clouds. Now, the hard part is I don't know if it will track well if there's clouds, but I guess I'll have to figure that out. Do you think Duffy knows there's a 24-hour sun? I don't know what you mean by knows. If you mean that has someone told him that there is one? Well, yeah, that's what we've all been told. So it's no different than you or I. You've been told there's a 24-hour sun. You chose to not believe it. I've been told there's a 24-hour sun. I choose not to believe it. Duffy's been told there's a 24-hour sun. He chooses to believe it. That's all it comes down to. He seems so dishonest. So you say that, Scott, but where has he been dishonest? So if you're going to call somebody dishonest, you need to show me a lie. And I don't mean the one that he told Kingdom in Context a week before he came out with. He's already admitted he shouldn't have done that. I told him it's stupid. You don't need to surprise us with this. You should have just been forthright. But that's not really a lie. If you tell somebody you're going to, oh, I don't know who's in charge of the experiment. Knowing that the following week you're coming out and saying you are, yes, it's a lie. But it's, was it meant to hurt him? Was it? No. But if there was a lot other lies, then okay, great. But I don't find a lot of other ones. I've found a lot of lies about Duffy. Things like, oh, he's not at his church when he's supposed to be. And then we look at the footage and it turns out the people were there at 8:30, not 7:30. Somebody said that there was a sign on his door that said closed for renovation. Duffy said that's a lie. There's no way. We look into it further, and the guy just said, oh, it looks like it's closed for renovation. So every time I had somebody present something to me that would be a lie, and I went and followed it up, it ended up being the flat earthers that were lying. That's just the truth. Flat earthers told me that there was a note on his door that said closed for renovation. Flat earthers told me he was there he was supposed to be there from 7 to 8, and he wasn't there at 7:30. That wasn't true. Yesterday, I heard people on Earth Awakenings lie about Duffy. They said, you took down that video that Elizabeth Acosta won. He's like, no, I didn't. I've never taken that video down. The guy's like, it wasn't there when I went looking for it. You definitely took it down. And Will said the great thing. He's like, it's not my fault if you don't know how YouTube works. It was under the live streams, not under the videos. So again, this guy's going around calling him a liar. You're lying. You took the video down. So again, every chance that I've seen, he's actually been the one who ends up being. Now, that's not totally true as far as like some things he said about Austin or me or expenses have been a little bit, I don't know if it's necessarily the whole truth, but it's, again, people try and save face sometimes and they don't want to look bad. I mean, that goes for everybody. So has it been anything detrimental? Nope. Everything got taken care of eventually. I feel fine. Do you think he knows about, he's so dishonest. He had such a cocky smile about everything. So then go back and look at the, go back and look at his financial interviews and you'll notice he has the same smile. So now that doesn't mean that it's not deceptive. It just means that it's not like he's come up with that smile for some sort of duping delight for this event. Think about what you'd have to believe. If Duffy is like a plant or something like that, then he's acting as a pastor. He's pretending to be a pastor at a church, reading from the Bible on Sundays, going to Bible study on Wednesdays. It's just weird to me that's what we would think. Then he's doing that. But does he know the earth is flat? Because if he knows the earth is flat, then he knows that God exists. So if he knows God exists, he's then lying to people, pretending to be a pastor, knowing that God exists. That's weird. It's just, if you think about it, it doesn't actually work out in somebody's psyche that they would ever do that. They could, and then people say, well, what if he had financial trouble? Yeah, I guess if he had financial trouble and they came to him and said, we need you to go down and pretend that the earth is a ball. I don't really know what that would entail. So I don't see any possibility like that, but we always have our eyes open. We'll see. He tried making Witsit look bad on Discord last night about expenses. Yeah, that's true. So that's what I was saying. Again, I haven't seen the documents between them. I don't think that Witsit ever asked for crypto money as part of the expenses. I think that when Duffy kicked back on some of the expenses, then Witsit was saying, oh, well, there's other things I could add that I actually put that number low, like my crypto, that kind of thing. So he wasn't saying, I want money for crypto trading. He wanted the expenses that we submitted that were declined at first. So that's what he wanted. Yeah, so I mean, I see what you're saying there. I guess that is dishonest. But again, it's hard for me to say that because I wasn't involved in that, although I do believe that Austin wouldn't have asked for that. I never saw a form that said my crypto trading. And his first expenses went through me, and I sent him to Duffy with mine, and they didn't have anything on there. They had simply a third of his month's income and a couple other things, babysitter and some other things. So I thought that they were going to be paid, and then we kind of got some kickback, which again, there was just a disagreement about what is expenses. And to me, I thought that it was very clear that he sat on my show and said, no out-of-pocket expenses, all expenses paid. So to me, that would mean anything that you would have to spend out of pocket that wouldn't be covered that you wouldn't need to spend if you weren't going on the trip would be covered, right? That's what I would think. But Duffy didn't really agree with that. He said, no, not necessarily your time, but he ended up giving me some of it that I wanted. So, like I said, I don't have really major complaints. Was it kind of pulling arms and legs? And I guess anything like this, it's hard to knock him. The guy's paying an arm shitload of money. So, but I just want him to understand, like, if he doesn't like the demands that we put out there, he had every right to say, I don't want you guys. I'm going to go with other flat earthers. And he would have found flat earthers didn't have any demands, right? They would have said, oh, we'll go. You don't even have to pay for our equipment. Who knows? But if you decide that you want Austin and I, and we have demands and you agree to those demands, then that's the agreement. So we don't feel like we're in the wrong. We said we live month to month. I can't afford to lose money on this trip. So I said any out of pocket expenses need to be covered. Now he took that to mean clothing, cameras, and plane flights and tips and taxes or something. And we took that as, also my drive to the airport. My car needs to park there, for a week or whatever it is now, 12 days. Those were mine. And then I took a third of my monthly income, and that got a little bit of kickback. And I understand why. He said, well, if you make that much a month, why is going on this trip? Are your VIPs going to leave? Are your these payments you have coming in. So he's right. You know, I looked at it, I said, okay, so I guess I can't take a third of the month because you're right. My VIPs are not going to leave because I'm in Antarctica. They should be VIPs anyway. So I reduced that number way down to basically an average of my super chats over 4 shows, which was basically nothing. See real quick, and then I got to go. Yeah, the Gleason map says there's no sunlight beyond the 80 degrees south. Well, we would be able to pretty much dismiss that if we're at 80 degrees. Again, we should see that. We have the mechanical compass. We've got GPS devices that Wolfie 6020 bought that are pretty nice. I think I looked them up. They're like $300. It looks like it looks like he bought it at the 7-Eleven, but I looked it up online. It's set $300. Like, okay, these are nice. 24-hour sun would prove that jet fuel melts steel beams. That's true. Absolutely. Also prove that Dr. Carver actually did his job on the fateful day in 2014. To lie, it's something you have to be aware of. Yep. This is what's so wrong with MC Toon constantly saying that Whitsitt lies, because all of his lies he points out are because of his beliefs. It's like, that's not a lie. If Whitsitt believes that, then he's just saying what he believes. You're calling it a lie because it's not what you believe. Well, that's not what lies is. Just because somebody says something you don't believe doesn't mean they're lying. They have to actually know that what they're saying is not true. And I don't think Whitsitt does any of that. Are you going to track temperature change between noon and midnight, or is there even a point to that? Well, we do have, we're bringing magnifying glasses. I have a big one and a small one, but we're going to see if we can light things on fire there. So if it is a fake sun or any kind of different sun than we get here, we should notice a difference in being able to light things on fire. What else do we have that's going down there? I think Wits has been looking into a thermal imaging camera that kind of has like an image on the back that we've seen video of, where if there's, you just see clouds, you can point it up there and it will pinpoint, it'll show you the sun. So I think we want to get one of those. He's blindly lying unknowingly or not. Who's that? Me? I don't think so. What if Duffy is an agent of Hydra? That'd be scary. Newsflash for you, Jeran. That's exactly what's going on, bro. What is? Yeah, I mean, so the thing is you guys can just make claims, and if we do go down there and just come back, you're just going to never remember, you're never going to mention that you made that claim. That's exactly what's going on, Jeran. That's what's going on, bro. Okay, well then you stand up, come back when we get back, and then you have to apologize if you were wrong. Don't tell people you know exactly what's going on, because you don't. You don't know what's, and if you do, speak it up, stand up and say it, so everybody can congratulate you when you get it right. But to just say things in chats and just, oh, he's a Satanist. I've heard people say Duffy's a Satanist. Okay. So are we going to see signs of that, or what's going to happen because he's a Satanist? Am I going to get, sacrificed or something? I don't really know what that means. It's a scientific impossibility for a light source to change its phototopic spectrum via reflection of the same light source. Yeah, okay. I agree with that. The Gleason map says, yeah, you read that. If you're going to look up to people, look up to them for what they achieve, for just what they do or something. Okay. What if him paying for it is a setup also? I don't know what you mean by that. It's not if he's saying, I'll pay for you guys to go, what do you mean it's a setup? I don't really get that. You have to explain what you mean. So it's a setup like what? That we're going to go down there and they're going to fake the sun? Like, we don't think they can fake what we're going to go see. Now, they could cancel the trip. They could make it cloudy. But as far as, in order for what you guys are saying to be true, they would have to have some deception set up down there. And then they're going to have a fake sun in the sky. How is it flying in the sky? How is it moving at the perfect speed of the sun? How is it as bright as the sun? How is it burning things with a magnifying glass? If it's not doing those things, we'll be there to film it. So that's what's exciting. If there's a reflection off the dome, if there's a second sun because of the outer lands, if there's a dome wall, we're going to be there. Think about it. We don't have any footage like this. Where can you go right now and look at footage of somebody just standing in Antarctica, showing you around, looking this direction, looking at the sun? We don't have anything like that. So this should be celebrated, at least as we get data, rather than people spiraling out of control and talking nonsense for the last 2 months. Are you going to contact any mainstream media? I'm not going to. I have no desire to do that. No. Yeah, a lot has happened and spent last 2 years building 3 houses. Thank you. Duffy is supposed to be a pastor, yet he defends the globe. Do you not see what's wrong with that? I do, but you're making it sound like that's an anomaly. Do you realize that 90% of pastors believe in the globe? Maybe 95%? So it's not just Duffy. For your statement to mean anything to me, it would mean that that's an anomaly. That, oh, you're right. He's way different than... No, he's the same as every other pastor. Very few pastors believe in the flat earth. So, Dan the Waterman, good old fun times, bud. Jolly Man say magnetic core is made of molten metal. Yeah, that's not true. Is there? Whoops. There is a 24-hour light in Antarctica. Okay, thank you, Bushidoki. Appreciate that. But are you talking about 24-hour sun or light? Tree dude. Okay, I think we're done. Let's see if I missed anything else. I appreciate you all for accepting this big challenge. Safe trip. What happened? I don't know what that did. What's going on here? Oh, meeting ended. All right, I think we're good. Last second. Just remember that you were told you were going to get burned before you got burned. Okay, thank you, Last Trump. I should write all these down. I'm going to write these down. I want a good register of the people that I can give shit, because look at what you guys are doing. Just so you know, if there was a overarching, some sort of controlling cabal in charge of the earth, and everybody listened to people like you, nobody would ever do anything. We should expect to be enslaved forever. Because if everyone's just as scared of everything, just afraid that they're going to get you, it's a trap, you're going to get tricked, then nobody would do anything. And then they can just laugh at us because we're so afraid of them. Like, if they have a fake sun that they need to employ, make them fucking do it. Make them put the fake sun in the sky. It could fall out of the sky. We could see the craft bringing it along. So we have to challenge these people, not just sit back and be afraid of them. That's my opinion. That's why I've been challenging people lately. If you are somebody who deals with spectroscopy, invite me to your lab. Invite me to see these things. If you're somebody who deals with a vacuum, if you're somebody who looks at star parallax and tells us that there's this tiny little parallax that nobody's ever seen before except for you, invite me to your lab to see it. But nobody's done that. Nobody's taken me up on that. Just light, but you don't see. Do you fly on the Friday the 13th? No, we'll be in Punta Arenas. Later, Sacred Terra. Remember the website that gave away free Bitcoin? Yeah? What about it? You mean the faucets? I don't know. Later, John McLean. Later, Prove the Stud. Oh, yeah, I like it. Where did he go? Buki Showdown. Oh, thanks, Austin and Jeran. Praying for God's blessing. Thank you very much. Prayers are appreciated. Later, Flurfs. Thank you, Pacquiao. The Jollyman. Peace on the plane. Okay, I think we're good. Total cost per person is like 30. If you're talking about insurance and everything, probably close to 40. Probably close to $40,000, which is just crazy. I wouldn't, if I had $10 million, I would never spend $40,000 on this trip. Agree, Jaron. We're all saying be wise. We will be wise. I promise you that. And look at me. I don't want to be. You think I want to be in another behind the curve, or you think I'm going to be taking all the steps to make sure that doesn't happen? You know. Now again, where people make up whatever they want to make up and just talk shit, of course. But I'm not. I'm used to that. If you do see the 24-hour sun, what's next for you? To come back and to immediately break down the doors of the NSF and PBS and ask PBS why the hell they are lying about the shape of the Earth with their stupid experiments and lying with their helicopter, and then going to NOAA and saying, get a camera down there at the South Pole, you fucking retards. Things like that. If you do see a 24, oh, that's sorry about that. Hope you have a safe trip. All right, guys, much love. Wouldn't put so much money on the line if he didn't go before and check. He could have been planning this for years already. Maybe. So, I mean, that's a high possibility. I don't know what that necessarily means, but I don't think he's ever been there. Now, again, could be. How would I know that, right? I don't think so. Just by basing on what he's kind of going through and how he found the people that we're going down there with. But if that's the case, then I want to know it. So if he did, let's say they did go down last year, him and McToon and Dave McKeegan, those three went down there. Well, would the smart thing of them to do would be just to sit around and let us continue to flounder about without knowing the truth. So they're going to take us down there and show us how it really works, if that's what's going on. And then, you know what? We deserve to know that. And then we can draw what we believe the Earth is after that. Right now, it becomes very difficult. If I told you to draw a map of the flat Earth, you couldn't do it because you don't know what the sun does in the south. So we're stuck. We don't even have a starting point. So at least let's get the data, and then we'll go from there. And not worry about it until we have the data, until we see it. Okay. All right. Much love to you guys. We are going to head out. I got a meeting coming up, and I got to get something to eat. I will see you. What is today? Tuesday? We've got Reefer Roulette tomorrow. 4:20 Eastern time, 1:20 Pacific time. Till then, I love you guys. Jaron, do you have good glasses for the sun reflection? Oh, I got some killer goggles. They're in the garage. I'll wear them next time. Much love to you guys, and peace.
Yeah. Yeah. It was nice just hanging out. Now go and hit the bell. Share it with the homies so that they could grow as well. They missing out. Jeran leaves no doubt. If you know what we bout, it's never for the clout, don't fuck around. Hey, not for the clout, that's too cap, we calling them out. Balls get flat when you cover the route. Jeran all in your mouth. Truth gets lost like all on the couch, but it's time to get up and make them get out. Uncover the route. Jeran, we are the crown. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe is falsified. Space is spinning DFI, all just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe is falsified. Space is spinning DFI. All just scientism lies.
Who this be? What he about? You say spinning and he said out. About flat earth, it's flat out. He's still standing when you passed out. Globers pound, screaming, shout. He can turn you inside out. Yeah, surface deep, he's felt throughout. And he stay grounded, you spaced out.
We gotta run nowhere when we come fact check your facts and match your data. Concept is too abstract, what matters? Trying to tune in, but the note get flatter. Tell me I'm flattered. Flatter than pancake batter, now we landed. Jeran, I'm your captain. Speaking, telecasting worldwide. Check the globe is falsified. Space is spinning DFI, all just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide. Check the globe is falsified. Space is spinning DFI, all just scientism lies. You know equations to the things you make the symbols for, but ain't really explaining what the symbols for. They try to teach you things against the things we taught before. No point in arguing now, they don't wanna talk no more. Okay, got a bite of the truth and now it's certain. That's what life look like when your mind is certain. Okay, got a bite of the truth and now it's certain. That's what life look like when your mind is certain. Thanks to the east side, thanks to the west side, thanks to the north side, way down to the south side. Thanks to the east side, thanks to the west side, big ups to the north side, way down to the south side. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe is falsified. Space is spinning DFI, all just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe is falsified. Space is spinning DFI, all just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe is falsified. Space is spinning DFI, all just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe is falsified. Space is spinning DFI, all just scientism lies.